Hey everybody, this is Ashley with Baby Wearing International of Knoxville, and this is Zion. He's about 5 days old today. I wanted to show you one of our favorite ways to wrap right now. I think this is a great option for a newborn. I tend to carry him up high on my shoulder like this when I'm just walking around, so it feels really natural to wear him up high as well. With any newborn, any kind of wearing, you want to follow specific safety guidelines, but it's really important with newborns because they have no head control and their airway can get compromised very easily. So wearing them really nice and high and tight and making sure that their chin is off their chest and their airway is wide open is essential for wearing safely. And I feel like in this position that is really easy to accomplish. High is the, you can't get much higher in a front carry than this. So most of the time in a front carry, you're going to have them on your chest like this, which is perfectly safe as long as you can kiss the top of their head. But in this burp hold or burp carry, he's going to be wrapped nice and high. Now there's two ways to do it that are basically just a variation of two pretty popular front carries. But I'm just going to show you how to do that. The first one is a front cross carry. And that is one that you can do with a little bit shorter wrap. You could do it with probably a 4, or I'm using a 5. I'm going to be watching myself in my mirror. It's always good to, especially until you become familiar with wrapping and with a specific carry, it's really good to check yourself in the mirror. And especially with a little baby, and with this one we're going to have fabric kind of coming up near his face, so I want to watch to make sure that fabric isn't in his face. That's really the most important thing while I'm wrapping this. We don't want to have anything covering his face. So if I'm watching myself in the mirror, then I can correct that. So anyway, I like to actually have him on my opposite shoulder of my dominant hand. So if I'm eating or I need to do something, I have my right hand and my right side free. It just seems to be the most comfortable for me. And then I'm going to take my middle marker and put it at the middle of my back. This part's kind of tricky to get started until you get it comfortable. So I'm just going to kind of grab up this side. In the middle of the wrap is about at the middle of my back. And then I'm going to bring this, I'm going to bring this side across his body and up onto my shoulder. I just want to make sure this fabric is really nice and high. I'm going to get him up. I like to kind of get that fabric in place on my shoulder and then get him up there, because then he's kind of laying on the strap versus the strap coming over his head. And you can kind of see what I mean by that. He's actually like laying on that fabric right there. Alright. Now you can do this seat part one in two ways. You can either, if he's still really like naturally balled up in a little ball from being in my belly, so I can take this and kind of tuck it underneath him, or the recommendation is to do legs out from birth. So then I would just take this little bit of fabric and kind of stick it up underneath in between the two of us. Alright, and so from here I'm going to pull this across my back and pull out all the slack. I'm going to pin this longer side in between my knees behind me to hold it. And then I'm just going to pull, get his little hand in there, pull this across, and it's going to end up tying underneath his bottom. Okay. And then this side, I'm going to take out from between my knees, pull it across, and this is going to come up over this shoulder like this. A nice option to do right here is to flip this shoulder if you want, because it takes the fabric, it kind of helps it cap over your shoulder. Actually, I'm going to flip it the opposite way. It helps to take that, otherwise it's kind of riding up on your neck a little bit. So I just kind of flipped that fabric. It's not necessary to do that, but I didn't flip the shoulder the last time and it was kind of bothering me. So, and then with my opposite hand, I'm just going to bring this across my body. Your crosses are going to be really high on your back. Oh, I have a little slack right there that I'm going to pull around. Tighten up. Anyway, your crosses are going to be really high on your back because you're obviously wearing him a lot higher. So, and then from here, I'm just going to kind of pull up the slack a little bit. Pull this down to my shoulder a little more. Okay. And now, like I said, this is a 5. You could do this with a longer wrap and just cross and tie behind you. You could do it with probably a little bit shorter wrap than this. In a 5, I have just enough to tie right underneath his little bottom. Make sure that fabric is all up underneath him. Oh. Alright. And he can kind of face out this way, or he can be snuggled into my neck this way. And he's really comfortable. So this is the front cross carry version with a shorter wrap, a little bit shorter wrap. Alright, now I'm going to take him out, even though he's so comfy. He's so comfy. Okay. And now I'm going to do front wrap cross carry. This is going to be with a longer wrap, whatever is what we call your base size. So my base size is a 6. It's for him being so tiny, I have a lot of tail after I tie off. I can do this in a 5, but I'm barely tying off in the tippy tails, so you're probably going to be between a 5 and a 7, depending on how big or what your size is and how big your baby is too. But since we're mostly wearing a little baby with this carry, it's not going to change that too much. So anyway, this is a size 6. And with this one, I'll keep him on this shoulder. I'm going to start off with the middle of the wrap, kind of at the middle of his back, kind of at the middle of my body. It's basically going to be the same as a front wrap cross carry, just really high. So get all that fabric really nice and high. The wrap is going to basically be like right underneath your armpits and kind of above your bust. So I cross this side behind me and up onto the shoulder, and then I'm going to hold it with this hand while I'm supporting his bottom with this hand. Reach behind me, grab this side, making sure not to get anything twisted. Alright, and this is kind of the tricky part. Since this is, stuck, there we go. Since this is the side his head is on, I want to try to kind of slip that strap without getting the fabric in his face. So I just kind of lift him off my shoulder for a minute and then put his head back down on the strap like I did with the other one. And again, same thing with the seat. You can either do legs tucked or legs out. It's recommended to do legs out from birth. It's just so that their joints, their feet, their knee, or their ankles and their knees aren't getting squished in there, and their hips as well. Okay. So I'm just kind of tucking that bunch of fabric up underneath him. And a lot of times on front wrap cross carry you're going to spread over their back, which you probably could do with maybe like the opposite side, but this one I'm not sure. I guess you could spread it a little, but I just tend to leave it unspread. I pull that cross panel like up over the top of my bust. And I just want to make sure that all that slack is pulled out. So he's really nice and secure. There we go. Give it another little pull. Alright, and then we're going to cross over his little legs. Not very easy to do. You might have fabric just kind of going over his legs, which is fine. And then tie off in the back. Here we go. Okay. So if you wanted a little more support, you could ideally kind of spread this over his back. But I don't mind leaving it spread out like this. So again, this is basically just a variation of a front wrap cross carry, but offset to the side a little bit and really nice and high. Normally that middle piece would be like right around my chest, but now it's kind of up high here. And he is snoozing away and happy as can be. Now the one thing I do like about this one is that if I decided that I didn't want him up so high, or I even wanted to nurse him, I could just basically untie this and kind of bounce him down into a traditional front wrap cross carry. Alright, so now I've bounced him down a bit. Pull out the slack in that top rail. And now he's back down into a regular front wrap cross carry. So I found that kind of helpful in a couple of situations where he's up really high and I want to lower him, so it's pretty nice. So anyway, that's two variations of Burp Hold, one in a front cross carry and one in a front wrap cross carry. Gives you some options as far as sizes and just whatever you feel like doing. So anyway, I hope you enjoy snuggling with your little one. Thanks for letting us share.